ahead on Nightcast, Boston Lake resident Todd Snavely returns home tonight after having his Olympic dreams dashed.
Some local college students use a little ingenuity to brighten the job market.
Coming up in weather, let's call for the next couple of days in a snowy Buffalo.
Bolton Ball tonight at the Nick Arena. I'll have highlights just ahead.
Nightcast is next.
Now, Jim Brennan, Cynthia Fodor, meteorologist Steve Caporizzo, Harvey Smilovitz Sports. This is 10 Eyewitness News Nightcast.
Good evening. 4 days ago, Boston Lake resident Todd Snavely was on the U.S. Olympic bobsled team. Tonight, he's an ordinary citizen with a very extraordinary story.
Dan Levy was at the Albany airport when a broken-hearted Snavely landed.
Keep the chin up.
Todd Snavely's return home was emotional. He's been victimized by a system, deprived of a chance to compete, robbed of his dream.
Everything's wrong with the system. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I should be on that team.
Snavely had been on the Olympic bobsled team. He earned that privilege last July, but when the courts ordered new time trials, Todd lost out.
I really don't have any words to describe what I've been going through. Sad, but I didn't have it all when I was there. My head wasn't in it.
And to compound the misery, the Snavely family had already made plans to attend next month's Olympic Games in Albertville, France. They took out a second mortgage on their home to finance airfare, hotel, food, and new wardrobe. Many travel expenses are non-refundable.
Without clothing and all the other things that we had to go and get in order to be warm enough and take care of ourselves over there, probably around $16,000, $17,000.
But Todd isn't the only one left out in the cold. His ex-teammates are still in Europe, and they'll compete without him. Chuck Leonowitz, Jeff Woodard, and Brian Liturgis have a huge void to fill. Wendy Leonowitz says Todd was like a brother to them.
When you go into the Olympics, you want to go into the Olympics with everything behind you and everything positive. And, you know, how can you go in feeling good when something like this has happened?
And it'll no doubt be toughest on Todd Snavely.
Yeah, it'll be difficult. I just cheer him on.
Dan Levy, 10 Eyewitness News.
Incidentally, Todd Snavely is also a graphics artist who created the design on U.S. bobsleds. Jim?
Governor Cuomo will release his budget proposal for the new fiscal year in the morning. It will reportedly cut nearly 7,000 jobs from the state workforce, more than half of them by layoff. SUNY tuition hikes and school aid cuts will also be proposed. There will also be a call for more than $1 billion in cuts from Medicare and welfare, Medicaid and welfare. And when that subject came up at the governor's press conference today, Lois Willis, a former welfare client and now representing the Hunger Action Network, spoke out.
Some of these senators is saying that the welfare mothers is lazy. They're not lazy. They're trying to make a living. How you going to go out there and get a job when it ain't no job? And you can't even get a job at McDonald's no more. And then you're going to tell them, well, you're going to have to work for your welfare check. Where you going to work at if it ain't no jobs out there?
I don't think you're going to find this state in this budget operating on the conclusion that the welfare mothers deserve to get less than they're getting now. I'm hoping that by discussing this rationally, publicly, over and over, the people of the state will come to understand that we're not squandering money on welfare and that it is a serious problem.
Now, one of the welfare proposals would strip adults of their home relief benefits after 6 months if there are jobs they could be taking. And while more state employees face the prospect of losing their jobs, another group is trying to land its first job, college graduates. At RPI in Troy tonight, students are having a rough time finding employment, but as Liz Berger reports, prospective RPI grads are not waiting for recruiters to come to campus. They're doing a little recruiting of their own.
My name is Chris Cox. I'm calling from RPI Career Development Center for Jobathon. I just wanted to speak with you for a few minutes about our effort to help students identify employment opportunities.
RPI students are dialing for help from RPI alumni. They're calling graduates all over the country to help them find jobs during a very tough time. It's Jobathon 1992. In the past, alumni have contributed money to the Engineering Institute, so why not help with job contacts?
So if there is a job opening in your company, you would be willing to send a job announcement of that opening?
And most alumni are willing to help out in a time of need, either by sending recruiters to RPI or by circulating resumes in their company.
If you have any opportunities become available, would you be interested in posting them here on RPI? Okay, wonderful.
Karen Mogan is a senior who'll graduate in December with a mechanical engineering degree. She's very worried about the future.
You come to RPI with a misconception that you're going to graduate and immediately find a job, and the way the job market is right now, that's not the case. So, you know, you are learning this when people are telling you. I called one person and he said he was just laid off. So, you know, it's definitely a trying situation.
Has the Jobathon been successful so far? Well, the counselors behind these doors at the Career Development Center say it's already working.
We have already been faxed some job announcements. Several people have told us that one company said that they're going to be offering to recruit with us in another month, and we can feel that it's happening.
And the numbers also tell the success of the program. Last night, the first night of the Jobathon, of 372 calls to alumni, 103 people agreed to help out. That's about a 35% success rate. And Jim, when they first started out, they thought they'd be happy with about 10%, and they got a lot more than they expected.
Any feedback on how they did tonight?
They did very well. I just heard from RPI a little while ago. They got about 90 pledges to help out. And incidentally, Jim, tomorrow night is the last night of the Jobathon.
All right, well, we wish them all luck. Thanks very much, Liz.
The owner of a Troy grocery store who was the victim of a robbery tonight helped police track down and arrest the suspects. Police say 2 men walked into Dean's Grocery just after 8, threatened the owner with a razor, and fled with $75. The owner called police and helped chase the suspects down. 30-year-old Mark Sandercox of Troy is in the jail, and the name of the other suspect has not been released. The man who designed the East Coldenham Elementary School in Newburgh has been cleared of wrongdoing. 9 students died when a wall collapsed in high winds in November of 1989. Now, the State Department of Education cleared architect John Clark last month of gross negligence in the incident. A spokesman announced that decision today. And it's time to check in with our meteorologist, Steve Caporizzo, who has a look ahead to tomorrow.
Joins us from the Weather Center. Steve?
Jim and Cynthia, we have another cold day on tap tomorrow. Our forecast tomorrow at a glance to give you an idea of how to plan your day. Tomorrow morning about 7 degrees. There will be some snow flurries around. I don't think a big problem. There will be a steadier light snow across portions of the Adirondacks. Noontime, the snow should be over, mostly cloudy. If you break some sun, up to 23. And then by 4 to 5 o'clock, heading home from work or school, partly cloudy and rather chilly, a temperature of 20. The complete forecast heading your way a little bit later on. Back to you guys.
Okay.
All right, Steve, still ahead on Nightcast, searching for survivors after a jetliner goes down in France.
Plus, Americans all over the country remember Martin Luther King Jr.
Martin Luther King Day was marked by marches, speeches, and church services.
It was. Ceremonies were held here in the Capital District and all over the country. At least one turned violent.
In Denver, the Martin Luther King parade turned into a riot. Some marchers became violent when the Ku Klux Klan rallied nearby. Police had to use tear gas to break up the crowd. In Atlanta, more peaceful ceremonies. The widow of the slain civil rights leader blamed President Bush for hopelessness among the poor. And the wife of Nelson Mandela, Winnie, spoke about the struggle for civil rights in South Africa. The current pastor of King's Church called on people not to give up the dream.
Is that we, like the spider, may have tried to go up the spout toward freedom, but we have been washed out by the rains of injustice, by a mean, downturned economy.
Here in Albany, entertainer Harry Belafonte and Governor Cuomo marched arm in arm. Belafonte, chair of the state's King Institute for Nonviolence, called it a day of healing.
Is Jesus outdated, no longer relevant? Is Muhammad, is God? If they're not outmoded, I dare tell you that Dr. King is not outmoded.
I have a dream.
They all spoke of how the dream lives on, the need to achieve racial harmony through nonviolence.
Although most government workers had the day off, it's interesting to note that only 17% of American companies celebrate the Martin Luther King holiday.
Rescue efforts continue in eastern France, where workers are trying to remove injured people from the wreckage of a plane that went down in snow and fog. Authorities say at least 9 survivors have been found thus far, including a 2-year-old girl. The A320 Airbus, carrying 96 people, was flying from Lyon to Strasbourg.
In Cuba, a man was executed by a firing squad today. Reports say dissident Eduardo Diaz Betancourt of Miami, seen here in the middle, was among 3 men found guilty of planning terrorist attacks against Fidel Castro's government. The other 2 men will spend 30 years in jail. Some harsh words from Japan have some folks here angry tonight. The Japanese Speaker of the House called American workers lazy and poorly educated who demand high pay to make defective products. He says they're the reason for America's overall trade imbalance with his country.
Statements like that from Japan are going to galvanize the American workforce and management in this country to take Japan on.
We have failed to emphasize quality. We have failed to properly educate our people. That's absolutely true.
A survey done in America found the average firm rejects 5 of every 6 job applicants because they lack the needed skills.
Wall Street was open on this Martin Luther King Day. Numbers from the stock market up next.
And you may want to throw a second blanket on the bed tonight. Steve returns with a forecast again when we come back.
Well, just in the event that you may have forgotten what a real snowstorm looks like, we have some pictures tonight.
That's right. What's snow?
We have some on the
We've had
ground
a little.
out
We
there.
got a little this morning.
We've had a little bit, but we haven't had that snowstorm as of yet. But our friends out in Buffalo, take a look at this. Boy, oh boy, tough morning rush hour. Heavy snow squalls came in off of Lake Erie. Most areas picking up 5 to 8 inches of snow. That snow fell between 10 last night and 6 this morning. And needless to say, a lot of school delays and I guess we weren't in schools today, right?
No.
A lot of delays going into work. A lot of extra exercise shoveling the snow. There would have been school delays if they had been school, right? And you know that we're entering the coldest period of the winter. The next 11 days, this is kind of interesting. Up until this point, we've been kind of reaching this peak for the cold part of the winter. From now through the 30th, this 11 days, the normal high is 30, the normal low is 11. That's as cold as it gets. After the 30th, the averages, at least the high and low, begin to creep upward. All right, high today, 22 degrees, low at 10 this morning, 53, and 22 below 0, the records. Right now, we have clouds thickening up. Now, the temperatures actually jumped 3 degrees in the past hour. 10 o'clock it was 8. Right now, it's at 11. Humidity 84%, the dew point at 7. The winds are calm. The barometer's falling off a bit. And this morning, we had 0.2 of an inch of snow. Not a lot, just a heavy dusting. And most locations, no big problems. Now, we have another Alberta clipper dropping down from the upper Great Lakes, moving southeastward. In fact, we've noticed that in the past couple of hours, some snow is breaking out around Buffalo and Rochester. It looks like lake effect, but some of this is not lake effect. It's a lighter snow coming in from that disturbance, and it's moving off to the east and northeast. It appears right now that most of that snow will be sliding north of the Mohawk River Valley during tomorrow morning. Weather Watch is checking in tonight. Mark up in South Glens Falls at 6 degrees. It's 10 in Schoharie. Woody up in Caroga Lake, 8. It's 8 degrees out in Helderbergs at Knox. Tonight, Averill Park, a chilly 1 above 0. Stanford, Vermont, a big goose egg. And Gene Gavazzi in the Great Adams Police Department, the fearless guys over there, report 7 degrees with mostly clear skies tonight. On our national weather map this evening, we have that cold weather in the northeast and the Great Lakes. Otherwise, it's absolutely beautiful out west. Temperatures in the 50s to near 60. In fact, a record high today at Miles City, Montana, up to 56. And by the way, it's cool for the folks down in South Florida, only between 60 and 65 at Orlando and Miami Beach. Now, during the day tomorrow, we'll start out rather cloudy, some off and on light snow flurries. High pressure moves in, so in the afternoon, some sunshine. It'll be a chilly day, about 25 or 26 degrees. In a long-range outlook for Wednesday into Thursday, things get a little bit more complicated. We'll still have that Alberta clipper and that energy moving down into the northern plains. That's number 1. And a storm system pulling out of Texas in the Gulf of Mexico. That's number 2. Now, if they stay apart, there's not going to be any big problems. if they get their act together, there may be a bigger storm heading up towards New York and New England later Wednesday night into Thursday. In fact, here's the weather map for Wednesday. The small Alberta Clipper moving southeast may produce some light rain or wet snow. And here's that second storm we're going to have to watch closely, and we'll keep you updated over the next couple of days. My forecast looks like this. For tonight, a cold one, becoming cloudy, lows 0 to 10 above. I don't think the temperatures are going to drop a great deal more tonight as the clouds thicken up. Morning flurries tomorrow, then some afternoon sunshine. We're looking for a high up around 25. Light west to northwest wind. Clear cold tomorrow night, 5 below to 5 above. And for Wednesday, lots of sunshine. Some afternoon high clouds, highs 25 to 30. Vermont and the Berkshires, clouding up and cold, 5 below to 5 above 0. Morning flurries tomorrow, then some afternoon sunshine, highs 20 to 25. In the extended outlook, it's a tricky forecast on Thursday. Rain or wet snow at about 36. Drying out, a few flurries, some sun on Friday, 29. And another chance at light snow on Saturday, 31. Looking at that 5-day, by the way, you notice that we do not have any of that real bitter stuff and brutal cold that we had last week at this time. So some slow improvements.
How about wind chills? Going to be much of that?
We're not going to have the wind, so the wind chills won't be nearly as bad as well.
Okay, well, that's good news. Thanks, Steve. And just ahead in sports, the Nick Arena was rocking to the beat of Bolton ball tonight.
Seton Hall was rocking St. John's at the Meadowlands, and Harvey has all the rock and the roll when we come back.
Well, the Nick Arena was nuts last night, depending on who you talk to. Harvey says it was.
Harvey was there.
And it was rocking tonight.
It was
a little bit different crowd tonight, though.
It was still a happening kind of place, you know. There's a lot going on.
Most nights it is.
Well, when I'm around, right? And no, anyway, Nick Arena, a little more subdued tonight. The arrival of pop star Michael Bolton and his Bombers. Let's go to the highlights. Big news tonight. Bolton and his Bombers starring in a charity basketball game against Fly 92 with all proceeds benefiting the Center for the Disabled. You recall Michael swung a mean bat in a benefit softball game at Heritage Park last year. Tonight he was equally skilled on the court. No, Bolton did a lot better. His Bombers did beat Fly 92, and there's Michael making a layup. 69-57 if you're keeping score at home. Now, as for the pros, the Patroons lost tonight, 112-108 in Quad City. Patroons are now, hello, that's enough, 13-16 at the All-Star break. Knicks ending a 3-game slide to beat the Pacers 105-97. A little extracurricular activity out there on the court today. Watch Dale Davis misses the slam. I'll get it right. Patrick Ewing took charge, 25 points, 14 rebounds. Knicks beat the Pacers 105-97. In Cleveland today, Celtics beat the Cavaliers 107-102. Look at the Cavs on the fast break, 2-on-1. Craig Elo here makes it count, running back the other way. Rick Fox, nice move, pretty basket. Celtics win in 107-102 over the Cavaliers. Around the NBA tonight, all the road teams won. Philadelphia over Washington, Miami beat Minnesota. Golden State took Charlotte, LA Lakers over Seattle. Now the Sonics will name George Karl as their new head coach on Wednesday. Our sources tell us. They also say the former Patroons coach had been in line for the LA Clippers head coaching job earlier this season, but the Clippers decided against making the change to Karl when the team started winning some basketball games. Big East shocker tonight, number 24 Seton Hall ran away from 19th ranked St. John's 75-60. Let's go to the highlights. The slumping Redmen missing injured center Robert Wardan. Johnny's, though, got 19 points from Malik Sealy, including this pretty alley-oop. Then it's all Pirates. Terry DeHare scoring 23 of his season-high 31 in the first half. Seton Hall by 7 at halftime. Second half, 7-2. Luther Rice goes crazy. Seton Hall wins it, 75-60 over St. John's. Yankees avoid salary arbitration, re-signing catcher Matt Noakes to a 3-year, $7.5 million deal, while the Mets and first baseman Dave Magadan settle on a $1.4 million contract for next season. NHL ends its All-Star break tomorrow, but former RPI star Adam Oates made some news today. Oates showed up for practice without a new contract. He had threatened to go AWOL after the All-Star game unless a new deal was worked out. But he came back, and he believes he'll eventually sit down with the Blues owner.
No, I was told that Mr. Shanahan wants to talk to me, at his convenience, and, I respect that. And that's, I've been kind of waiting by the phone ever since.
Well, the Super Bowl combatants, Bills and Redskins, made their way to the Metrodome today. The Bills left behind lots of cold, lots of snow at Buffalo, and they're in Minneapolis tonight. Meanwhile, the Redskins, take a look at these guys, mobbed by millions of fans out at Redskin Park. Bills made some news tonight. Starting strong safety Leonard Smith may not play because of an infection in his left knee. Now, I know they're playing indoors, but Let me ask Steve Caporizzo. What's the weather out there? Steve, any parties at the Metrodome?
Well, it's not too bad. 31 and mostly clear, Harvey, which is warm for them, so not bad.
There you go. If you're going to the Metrodome, Minneapolis, Steve says it. You can go out and have a good time. 31 degrees. Wow, it's not my kind of Super Bowl. Finally, the shot heard around the basketball world last Friday at a high school game in Ithaca, Michigan. Score tied, 59 apiece. 3 seconds left on the clock. Let's go to the highlights. Josh Noxon gets the ball. Watch what he does. Just heaves it down court. You guessed it, right in the basket. This youngster is also the school's star quarterback. Plays basketball, throws it up there. Baby's good. His team wins it. Congratulations, Josh. And I'm sure we will see that again Wednesday night, Harvey's Highlights.
And have we got a challenge for you?
Oh, I'm ready.
Okay, well, you're going to see it right now. This is a great one.
More highlights coming up. Finally tonight, it's not for everyone, but a new sport is giving a whole new meaning to the phrase, letting yourself go. Enter Velcro jumping. In Kansas City, you might say Lynn Dickey's Bar and Grill is getting a jump on the competition. Patrons there are sticking around for happy hour nowadays, literally. Experts say it's a sticky situation, but what better way to let yourself go?
And they catapult themselves in pell-mell fashion against the board and stick. I wanted it, and I went for it, but they need some kind of special support for the men in the crotch area.
David Letterman did that a couple of years ago on his show, but
I feel like something's
maybe
fuzzy
that's where
there.
they got the idea.
Just catching on now, I guess.
Well, maybe someone will see that and call you up and challenge you to it.
You guys, come on, let's go.
I'll challenge you.
Let's go
Okay,
right now.
this I'd like to see.
Come on, here we
Get
go.
a Velcro board going here. Well, thanks for being with us tonight, and be sure to wake up with the morning team, Elisa Streeter and John Grody at 6:30.
Have a good night. We'll see you tomorrow.
Good night.
Come on.